Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Young. I'm a professional learning coordinator for the Beaumont Unified School District. We're sitting here in my Gmail today, and I'm going to just kind of share some problems that I have and how I solve them. So, one of my big problems that I have is that I get a lot of email, and I need to kind of like section it out so I can just jump in at any time and see like what's really important, what's not really important. One of the things that I do initially, and I've been using this for a while, it's kind of been working for me, is up in the settings. I'm actually going to click that little gear, go to settings. We'll notice there's a lot of different things across the top here that you can choose. I encourage you to click on a lot of those and just click around and see what things do. Today, one of the things that I did was I went to inbox and I decided to use categories. So this way, Gmail is going to categorize all the emails that are sent to just me are going to show up in primary. Anything that's related to my social media, whether it be my Twitter, my Google Plus, any of that stuff, is going to show up in the social tab. And then promotions is mostly going to be like emails that I get from either vendors that I've signed up for or people that I've signed up to receive their newsletters, or something that's usually like from a company, something that seems like a salesy thing. Updates is going to be actually, for me, I've noticed mostly it's like anytime somebody creates a document and shares it with me, that's usually where it shows up, is in my updates, because it's Google saying, hey, I want to keep you up to date on what's been going on. Somebody shared this document with you. And then forums is going to be anything that is usually like if I'm part of any discussion boards or if anybody sends an email to multiple people, it usually shows up in the forums. So it's way of telling you, hey, this is a group discussion. So that's one thing that I do to make my email browsing a little bit easier. But the main thing that we're looking at here today is I'm in this class right now. I'm in an online class, and it's through the Santa Cruz County Office of Education, and I got an email from them here today. And I get lots of emails from them, but I want to make sure I don't want to miss one. I'm always afraid like, oh, I'm going to miss that important email. And sometimes when I'm just kind of glancing over my email inbox, things kind of bleed together. So one thing that I want to do here today is we want to create a label and apply it to this email. So when I'm in my email, in the email, I've clicked on the email, I can come up here and click on labels. Now here's some labels that I've already created. I actually want to go down to where it says create new label. And I'm going to click create new. Now I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. The class that I'm in is called the Leading Edge Certification. So I'm going to go LEC. Leading Edge Certification for the Professional Learning Leader. So I'm going to do LEC PLL. And if I wanted to, I could nest this under another label. So think of like the analogy of like folders. Like you can have folders within folders, right? You can have like subfolders. So if I wanted, I'm not going to go to this level of organization, but I could have like a label for online classes. If I was in multiple online classes, then I can have an individual label for each online class, and all of those could exist in another folder environment called online classes. I'm not going to worry about that, so I'm not going to click this. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to click create. So now over here on the left, I don't know if you caught it, but you notice this little guy popped up. So now when I'm on my email, I can go over to label and I can click apply label, and I passed it. So here's the label I want to apply. Now that's going to go ahead and put, we're still loading. That's going to put the label on this email. All right, so there's my label, and my label is gray by default. So if I'm looking at my email inbox, it really doesn't jump out at me because it's kind of gray on gray. So I'm going to come over here down to where I had all my labels listed, and I'm going to click this little down arrow, and that's going to pop open this menu, and I'm going to change the label color to pink. That way it'll stand out a little bit nicer for me in my email. So that's kind of cool. And I notice actually in my email, I can see it right away, but I noticed something else right now. I noticed that I have another email from the same person. So if I wanted, I can click into that and go ahead and click and apply the label. But that gets to be kind of cumbersome. It's not really helping me find those emails any easier. So we're going to actually take this a step farther, and we're going to create a filter so that Gmail will automatically apply that label to any incoming mail from that email address. So one of the things I want to do to kind of set myself up is I want to come and I want to copy the email address. We're going to need that for later. So I'm going to come up to the top here, and I notice that it says, here's the email information, but the whole email address isn't showing. So I'm going to click the details, and there's the full email address, and I'm going to copy that. Okay, so now that I have that information copied, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my settings again. So our gear up on the right, go to the word settings. So here's a bunch of stuff that we were looking at. So we've got all these different options, and I want to go to filters and blocked addresses. And actually, I could have created my label by coming here, clicking labels, and then going down and finding create new label. That's an alternative way to create the label. I think the way that we did it was maybe a little bit easier. Okay, now when I'm in the filtering, I want to come down here and say create new filter. And the reason why I needed to grab that email address is because here's the criteria that it's going to use to search my incoming email. It could be from a particular person. It could contain a certain subject or even have certain words in it. So, I mean, this might be like if you're a teacher and you like, you know what, I want to create a filter so that it gets labeled like with a bright yellow sticker. Anytime a kid sends me an email and it says, I need help with my homework. So maybe you could use the keywords homework and help, and it would automatically attach that label to it. You got to kind of think through that though, because again, it's just going to search through each email, and if it's got those two words in it, it's going to apply that label. So you might end up with some kind of false positives there. So be careful with the words that you're selecting. In this case, though, I know I want to just pick from Santa Cruz haikulearning.com. So I'm just going to go ahead with that email only. And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom and I'm actually click this create filter with this search. And then again, if I find out this isn't working out for me, I can always come back and add more detail to this filter if I'd like. Okay, so now that I've created the filter, it's saying, okay, I'm going to use that information. Now what do you want me to do with it? Here's all the different things that we can click. If I wanted to automatically just never see their emails, I suppose I could click skip the inbox, but I want to go and click apply label. Okay, then there's a couple other things that I could do here. If I was going to set up like email forwarding, like maybe I wanted to have this automatically forwarded to my personal email address so that I would make sure I see it when I log in there too, I could click forward it and then I would have to add the forwarding email address. Or in this case, I want to say it's really important. I want to never accidentally have it go to spam. I want it always to be marked as important. And since I chose the categories when I set up my email, I always want it to show up in my personal email tab because that's where I'm going to check the most frequently. And then lastly, this is kind of cool. It's looking at all my other emails and saying, hey, I noticed you've got that email address showing up a few other times. Why don't we go ahead and apply that label to all those conversations too? I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to click yes or click apply filter to those as well. All right, now I've created the filter. Now, and I've got the label going. So now when I go to my inbox, I should see that not only the email that I labeled, but it looks like a couple other emails that I had hanging around in there from the same email address now all have that label. So for me, that's going to make it quick and easy for me just to kind of visually see where's the emails from that person that I really wanted to make sure I didn't miss. All right, so again, that was how to set up a label and then how to set up a filter so it will automatically apply the label to the incoming email. That's something that I do to kind of help organize my life, and hopefully you'll find it kind of useful too. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.